Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. It's currently late night and I don't know, I was just feeling a little bit blah today. I do apologize if I'm wearing the same jumper. You probably have seen this in a couple of videos, but honestly this is like one of the warmest, coziest, most comfortable jumper that I ever own. You are going to see a lot of shop my stash in this video because I have decided not to purchase any new makeup, since a lot of the times the makeup products that are coming out are basically the same. It has been done. It's kind of getting to the point where I'm bored. I might as well just use up whatever I have. I don't have any look in mind, so we're just gonna play with it. For primer, I have this MAC Skin Base Visage. I purchased this when I did a full face of MAC Cosmetics. I think it was in our old flat. It's a nice base, but I don't use it as much because my skin has been so dehydrated. I've also already filled in my brows because honestly for brow products I don't switch it up. I'm still using my e.l.f. Cosmetics brow pencil. So I'm going to set my face a little bit before we move on to the foundation, just because I'm feeling a little bit oily, using the RCMA No Color Powder. Just very lightly, specifically on this brow. I am going to revisit this Nars Radiant Longwear foundation, and this one is in the shade Valencia. I purchased this foundation because of Desi Perkins. She raved about this foundation so much. Unfortunately, the shade that I have is my summer shade, so this is going to be really dark. I used to use Barcelona and Syracuse, but Barcelona has a strong peachy undertone, and Syracuse has got more of that brown undertone, which doesn't necessarily match my skin tone. So this one is kind of in between. It still has that peach undertone to it, but it's a lot better. So I like to apply this using a beauty sponge because it picks up the excess product as well as it doesn't make me look very cakey. I prefer kind of a lighter foundation, not so much full coverage. I don't know why, I kind of like my skin showing. Like, I still definitely have some acne marks. For some people it might be a problem, but personally for me, I kind of like how my skin shows a little bit. It looks more natural and it's not a bitch to take off at nighttime too. A little goes a very long way, and I don't know how I'm going to use this up because it's such a good foundation. It lasts throughout the day. It gives me a nice flawless base, and paired with the MAC primer, it's actually really good. I am going to use the e.l.f. Camo concealer, and this one is in the shade Medium Sand. This is a little bit light on me, but I prefer this shade because it oxidized a little bit. Unfortunately, the downside for this concealer is the packaging is terrible. I feel like I have a lot of buildup around the cap and I waste a lot of product. I do really love the coverage that it gives. I find that working by section is your best bet when it comes to this concealer because it's such a full coverage concealer that the work time is not a lot, and I like to blend that with the sponge, where as you can see with a few dots it gave me a nice lift, as well as it concealed my dark circle as well. Some people, they like to leave their concealer, but this one I cannot, because honestly it will be so hard for you to blend if you were to leave it for a bit. And I'm going to go back to the RCMA No Color Powder, and I'm just going to press some loose powder right underneath the eye because I tend to crease if I don't set it immediately. I want to do a little bit of cream contouring, so for that I'm going to use this Fenty Beauty Matchstix in the shade Truffle. The shade is more so for bronzing as opposed to contouring because it has a little bit of warmth to it, whereas when you contour a cooler tone shade would be better. Since this is a cream to powder formula, it's supposed to last all day, and apparently it's waterproof. And then I am gonna go and use the RCMA no color powder just to set the areas that I'm oily. I don't like to set my whole face because the foundation sets into a nice satin matte finish. And then I will grab the brush that we used to apply the cream bronzer. I have two blushes in here that I really want to use. These two are from Nars. So I have the shade Medley, which is a nice, very neutral blush. If you have fair skin, this is going to be a nice color for you. But if you have more of a darker skin tone or a medium, this would be great. So I think I am going to go for this one, and this one is in the shade Dolce Vita. This is very pigmented, so just be very careful. Like, I literally just tap the slightest, and as you can see, the amount of pigment that it gave is a little bit much. So what I like to do is to then just grab the powder brush from before to diffuse, especially this side here, and then I'm going to pick up a little bit more of the translucent powder and then go over it once again with whatever is left on the brush. I have this Too Faced Natural Face palette, and there was a point in my videos where I exclusively use this palette pretty much on a few of my videos back to back. So I'm so excited to be able to rediscover it again. So I'm going to pick up this shade right here, which is called Sunny Honey, just to set that bronzer that we have to add a little bit more warmth. So I got this as a deluxe sample from Mecca Cosmetica or Mecca Maxima. So this is the Nars Mutiple in Coppacabana. So this is what it looks like. It's a nice cream highlighter. The shade is not my favorite, but I like to use this as sort of like a spotlight face highlight. So I like to focus that on the highest part of my cheekbone before I apply a powder highlight. It just intensifies the area and make it pop a little bit more. And I like to use my finger because I feel like the warmth of my finger can really melt the product. And then I'm gonna go over that with the Too Faced palette with a fan brush, and I'm going to mix Starlight and this one right here because this one is a lot more pink and this one's a lot more gold, so mixing them together is actually a good balance between the shade. I am going to just quickly spritz my face because it's feeling a little bit heavy, so I'm going to use the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. This and the MAC Fix Plus are the two of my most repurchased products, so that says a lot. And for eyeshadow palette, ooh, I'm excited. I have this eyeshadow palette from this brand. I've only ever used this in video twice, and in real life I've used this 3 times, and that's basically it. So I'm excited to actually dig into this eyeshadow palette. Once again, I love the colors, I love the shades. It's honestly the perfect neutral eyeshadow palette for an everyday woman that is just looking for basic colors that you could do so much with. Like, I love the fact that there's a beige close to white shade and a black, because I feel like on a neutral palette that's a must. The reason why I stopped using this eyeshadow palette because after the hype it kind of died down. Also with controversies and stuff, I'm not really gonna get into that, but it kind of discouraged me to use it, and I've already purchased it, so it's not nice if I'm just gonna leave it and not use it. And I also have this pigment from Danessa Myricks, and this is the Metals. I'm bummed though because you don't really get a lot of product for how much you pay. I would consider it like a chameleon type of pigment because it does that duochrome type of finish. So I'm going to prime my lids with this pigment primer from NYX. Unfortunately, NYX is not sold in New Zealand anymore. You can find a few stockists that sells NYX. They used to be at Farmers, but for some reason they got rid of it. I'm not entirely sure why. This is not an eyeshadow primer, but I was experimenting on my other palettes today, specifically the what's it called? Specifically the brighter ones, and I find that the eyeshadow primer I use, it makes the colors look a little bit more ashy on my lids because I have such a very dark discolored lids. So I tried this one and the pigment showed up, so I'm excited to try it in today's look. I'm going to mix in a little bit of the concealer just so we can cover the veins and discoloration that I have. I wish I discovered this a lot sooner. Like, it's been in my collection for about 3 years now, and I've only used it once. I think I used it when I applied glitter, and I didn't even think of it being an eyeshadow primer, but now that I'm trying to shop my stash and use whatever I have, it's a great discovery. I'm going to start off with Soothe, which is this one right here. It's a nice transition shade. It's a nice neutral shade, but on my skin tone it comes off a lot more warmer. I am going to use the shade Ritual, and with a more denser brush, I am going to try and pack that on slowly on my outer V, and then kind of dragging it outwards. And with the transition shade before, I'm just gonna blend the inner part and slowly blend it outwards just so we have a nice blend. And then I'm gonna go back to Ritual just to touch that up a little bit. I'm going to pick up Ritual, mix in with Soothe, and just pop that on the lower lash line. You guys know I don't really do a lot for the lower lash line. I think I'm gonna go with the black, which is called Memory, and I'm going to try and do like a line, like a rough winged line, just to deepen up the outer V. It doesn't matter if it's messy because I actually kind of like that type of look where it's a little bit more grungy. It just adds a little bit of depth into the look. So then I'm gonna go back to Soothe and try to blend that. I'm gonna go back and use this Pigment primer. I'm going to use a smaller mirror for this because I really want to get up close. I am going to pick up this Metal pigment from Danessa Myricks. It has a flecks of purple, blue, silver, so then I am going to just try to disperse that as much as I can. Kinda applied the pigment messily on this side, but honestly I'm kinda digging it. So I'm going to replicate that on the first eye that we did. Dude, that is so pretty. Imagine you could actually mix in a little bit of mixing medium and turn it into a liner. Ooh, that's gonna be pretty. So now I'm going to go back to the shade Ritual just to blend a little bit of that. Nothing too crazy. And then I'm going to redefine the line because we kind of lost that. For the inner corner highlight, I am going to use the shade Aura Metallic. And I'm going to mix in a little bit of that Memory Metallic. Just a teeny tiny bit. So I'll just quickly apply my mascara. I don't think I'm gonna do lashes. You guys know how I feel about it. So for the lips, obviously I'm gonna go nude. I have the Jordana Mahogany Lip Liner. And this is just a nice brick red maroon type of liner. And for lips, I am going to use this MAC lipstick in the shade Hug Me. I feel like those two will complement each other. So good to be finding good products that are hidden from my collection. I am going to no longer purchase any new makeup products. I'm going to focus more on shopping my stash and just creating fun makeup looks that are easy to achieve. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more updates, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye!